morning. Willis Raburu here after such a beautiful debates and confessions on Sam Gituku's segment. It's time also for some extra confessions here. Today is a very interesting topic. I believe if you're on this great earth, you must have an ex. You must have an ex. Either, for some of you, it might be a reason, as I'm sure there's a statistic, somebody watching me today who was probably dumped yesterday. Probably woke up to a good morning text, you're like, oh my God, everywhere I look is just a reminder. Well, yeah, buckle up. This is the show for you. We want to talk about exits. As you can see, we're calling it exit, Apachini, not Brexit, as Shatta was saying. And we want to just talk about the do's, the don'ts, the situations that go in there. Should you or should you not, beg your pardon, keep in contact with your ex? Can it ever be amicable? What if there's a child involved? And all of those different facets of it. So today, it might be triggering, warning in advance. It might trigger you a little bit, but hopefully at the end of it, apart from the trigger, I hope it helps you to kind of find a way around it. Sindio? All right, so I want to introduce Shazmin. How are you?
Mzuri.
Uko sawa?
Kabisa.
Uko salama?
Salama sana. Na wewe?
Hata mimi niko sawa sana. Niko buheri wa afya.
Ninafurahi kusikia.
Asante sana. All right, CJ, how are you doing?
Good.
It's been long. How are you?
Been a while.
Yeah, I haven't seen you in a while, but you're keeping well?
I'm keeping well. You know I'm keeping well.
Yeah, everything is sambamba.
I'm keeping well.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Shatta boy.
Wagwan.
How you doing?
Everything nice, man. Everything Chris. Prikankang.
You're good.
I am best.
Everything is okay.
Nashukuru Mungu.
Yes, hata mimi nashukuru Mungu.
Niko salama salmin. Yes.
You're very good.
Na wewe kabisa.
Hata mimi niko kabisa.
Kila kitu
iko more fire. Yeah, man. Everything nice.
The temple 420 kind of thing.
Yeah, we know that thing, man. Yeah, man. Wajakoya things. Aya. We are without Roberta Bobby today, which is unfortunate because Roberta is one of the very few special people who are born on the 29th. So happy birthday, Roberta, and you know, we wish you well and the best. The fact that you're born on a day like this means you're already unique, so keep on shining. Na hata wewe unaweza to text in case you're watching experiences, yeah, my ex na mambo kama haya. All right, so let's jump right into it. Shatta.
You done?
Yes, I knew you'd be surprised.
You start with me, man.
I knew it. And we're gonna ask you the question of the day in a short while, and basically because it's people argue about that a lot. The question of the day is: should you keep in contact with your ex? Should you keep in contact with your ex? You can SMS us on 2242. You can the hashtag to use is Daybreak. Talk to us and let us know. And also you can comment on any other thing that you hear, of course, as we talk about the X factor. All right, so Shatta boy.
Yeah, man.
Let's begin there. Tuseme kuna what? Bloodlines when it comes to dealing with your ex. In your experience, what do you think is the proper way to deal with the ex? Do you still contact them? Do they still wield influence in your life? What do you think?
It depends. Kuna situations you must talk to them. Maybe if there's a child involved.
Right.
Now you just can't ghost them because of your child. But kama hakuna mtoto, daddy unaoga unarudi soko unasahau. That's
immediately back to the market.
Hata siku hizi hawaogi wananawa tu uso. Na uso umerudi soko.
All right, that was bad. Let's go.
Yes.
Let's keep going.
But if there's a child, there's now you cannot avoid talking to them or seeing them. Now, what you need to have is structures on how to communicate with them. Kwanza kama kuna mtu mwingine sasa bring on board. See if now you've moved on, ama they've moved on to a new partner. Now there has to be some consensus on how to communicate. Unaelewa? If there's a decision that maybe they need to be involved in, it has to do with the child. But if it is your personal choice on who you choose to date, on how you choose to date, well, they should not have an influence.
Right.
But it is not the case. See, for men will want to control the baby mama moving on. Like, no, you cannot. Why are you moving on? You have my child. Why are you bringing another man on board? You see, why will you introduce my child to another man? Yet the guy has already moved on.
Right.
You see, It is because in the past that was okay, that a man would leave, go get married, and the woman would stay single. You see, there was some unspoken polygamy situation. But you see, with today,
stay single because they have a child.
They have a child with you, so they'll stay single. You'll continue providing. You get. But nowadays things have changed. You see, it's like with empowerment, there has to be both sides. You see, the girl child of yesterday is not the girl child of today. She's empowered in the sense that she has information empowerment, she has financial empowerment, so she can make her own decisions that do not involve you. Because the money, she would maybe fear moving on to someone else because they would think you would break the support you give. But today, people are financially stable. So you refuse to pay rent, she pays rent. You refuse to pay school fees, she does it. So, and some men have not adapted to that reality. They think if they leave you, they leave the girl, she should stay single and take care of the child. The only problem comes to now, you have no choice to whoever this person can date. But you must have a say on how this person is exposed to your child. See, that is now where you draw the line. How is this person going to be exposed to my child? To what extent? What information can they give my child? You see, how does my child digest this? Or do they poison my child against me? Because that's a situation that would happen, that say you moved on, you got yourself a lady and you have a child, and this lady starts poisoning your child against their mother. You see, kuna hizo, what do I call them? Dynamics. And unfortunately, as I keep saying, we are the guinea pigs of it. So we learn through it.
Yes. So we being what, the men?
No, this generation.
Okay.
This generation, because zamani yuko inafanyika, you would see a lady anazeeka ajarimari, anazeeka na watoi. But siku hizi it's not the case. Unaelewa?
Siku hizi 2-3 months.
Ai, mtoto akona dadi mwingine.
Yeah, and also you might also realize mulikuwa wengi is just a now. I saw a specific example online of this guy who had always been seen as the person who has many other options, and then they broke up, and then he realized after breaking up that this lady has been seeing another dude for like at least 8 months of the relationship. So we alitoka, option 1 dropped up, boop, option 2 picked up the pieces, and hopefully they live happily ever after. I doubt it though, but anyway, to each their own. But then, CJ, also the other thing is the fact that you've said that you can move on. You can move on, yes, and get somebody else, but then you might still be carrying that ex, so to speak, with you. So how would you say that, okay, sawa, I'm ready now, let's do it, and I'm not going to talk to you and I'm going to cut you off, because you can cut them off, but then you can still carry them. So how do you balance that?
Well, that would just mean that you're not healed through the process. See, you've got to go back to why people even break up in the first place. I could have moved on, but I never really wanted to leave that relationship. I may have been forced to move on because the other person decided that they were no longer going to stay in the relationship. And no matter how hard I fought for it, they had made up their minds to go. And so sometimes you'd have the kind of rebound relationship where, because I don't know how to stay by myself, I'll decide to get somebody else. Sorry. And then sometimes it's nearly like a revenge. You're trying to make the other person feel bad, to show them that, your life is moving on. As long as they are still a factor in the decisions you make, then you are not free from them. And that will always then bring you back to the place where you might be relating with somebody else, but you're still checking out the other person because you didn't get over it. Sometimes the reason we also will feel that is if they're the ones who broke it up, sometimes you will feel the pain is not even that it broke up. The pain is that he or she is the one who, broke it up. We want to feel powerful, that I'm the one who ended the relationship. So when I feel that the other person ended it, it's like they have a sense of power over me. And I will keep holding that because I wish I could get a second chance, then be the one to walk away. There are those scenarios as well, where the pain that somebody feels is because the other person walked away, so the other person seemed to have rejected them or has the power. Then they will want to show that they're not as bad, so they want to prove to themselves or to the other person that there's nothing wrong with them, but they've not gotten over their ex. So they'll keep on relating here, but keep stalking the other person on social media, keep trying to find out who they're relating with, keep comparing themselves with the person that their ex is relating to. They want to know, is he better? Is she better? You know, so did she have to text somebody who's like this? So you'll find this person seems to be in a different relationship, but they're being eaten up by the other person's choices because they think that choice was against them and it is a comparison to them. So it's a matter of you healing from that particular relationship and knowing that, well, it did not work. And I may not have been good for you, but I'm good. See, there's nothing, I was thinking about this, there's no chemical called poison, right? There's no chemical called poison.
Yeah.
It's just in relation to something, then something becomes poisonous. So just because I'm not good for you does not mean I'm poison. Maybe I would be effective somewhere else. Maybe I will be good for somebody. What is poison somewhere? Maybe medicine.
Like one man's meat.
Yeah. So.
But if you're poisoned twice, check yourself.
So
the lab.
Yeah.
I think sometimes we beat ourselves too bad because you feel if this person walked away from you, then something is wrong with you. And as long as that eats you up, you will keep on feeling like you need to prove a point to them. And so you'll stalk them, you will keep following them, you still want to know who is in their lives, and you will be using your new partner to prove a point, which is not fair to yourself and even to your new partner. You just need to know you're good enough and you will be good for the person that is right for you.
And then that's an interesting dynamic as well, Shaz, because that comparison in the mind, some people say it's always kind of going to be there, one, but two, how do you keep from, always looking back? Like say, looking back over my shoulder, like always looking back, and like CJ saying, you're always on social media, stalking, trying to say who are they with, Shatta has dreadlocks, maybe I should get dreadlocks, stuff like that. Like, how do you keep from doing that to yourself?
Well, I think the first place to start is, a lot of people feel if I've got an ex or I'm going through a breakup or I've been through a breakup, that first of all, I have to hate the person I broke up with. I think a lot of people need to realize you can still wish well for the person you've walked away from. You can still love the person you've broken up with or you've chosen to be your ex. I feel, right now a lot of people deal with hate is easier to move on. If I hate you long enough, then it's simple for me to find reasons that you were wrong and justify I'm correct.
Right.
I feel that's the first place to stop. I feel when you're breaking up with somebody, it's because you've realized at some point that relationship was not allowing you to grow spiritually, mentally, emotionally, physically. It was halting you. But I feel a lot of people don't realize that relationship was powerful to have served you because it's taught you so many lessons. Instead of saying, I'm going to badmouth this person, wish them well. I feel that's part of your journey in healing. Choosing to forgive them for whatever could have happened, choosing to forgive yourself. But I feel the biggest thing is not to lose your self-worth in the process, because you can turn around and sort of feel this person that's broken up with me, does it mean something was wrong with me? I feel it just means both your energy came to a halt, and as much as they could not serve you, you could not serve them anymore either. So the first step is to be able to say, if I'm going to have this breakup, if I'm going to go through this process and this person's going to be my ex, I don't want to hate them because that means I'm carrying that inside of me all the time. How do I heal that? By recognizing that there were good things in that relationship that opened my eyes to be a different person. And I'm so glad that they are my ex right now because it gives me time to really review and focus. I feel people don't take that time. People want to numb, and they're in pain, and they feel somebody else can validate what was already going wrong in this relationship. When you reach the point of being an ex, you don't reach the point of being an ex because you've, beautifully discussed, let's break up. You end up being an ex because somewhere down the line you've hated each other for unmet expectations and unmet needs. And that's truly what it just is. It comes down back to you. And I feel the first step is take your ego away, because I always tell people there's anger related to a breakup.
Right.
And anger comes with ego. If you take the E away, you can let the anger go. And that's just a beautiful way to put it. And
What is an example of like the anger that comes with ego?
Well, I feel, look, first of all, it's who are you to dump me? I have a vision of who I am.
Right.
I think I'm someone amazing. I gave you everything. And I tell people a lot of the times you wouldn't have broken up if you gave them everything they wanted and everything they needed. But you've ended up breaking up because there's so much noise. You both have lost operating from the heart. There's so much noise in the mind that has created you to be where you are. Now it's two egos battling, and that becomes the worst when children are involved, because no one pauses to think, what is the best thing for the child? It's not about you and it's not about me. It's about what our children need from the two of us as individuals, as grown-ups, as responsible human beings, not as wounded, egoistic people.
Right.
So I feel the first step when you're choosing to get through and having an ex, work on actually healing. And if you have to see this ex, because I have so many people say, but my ex works with me in the same place.
Right.
Or they're now in the same compound, or we shared the same friends. How do you handle that? I feel go through a proper detox of blocking them completely. And tell your friends, I don't want to know. Please don't tell me who they're with.
Did you see what the subliminal?
Exactly. Did you see what they posted?
What they posted, yeah.
Just tell everybody, I don't want to know anything about them while I recover. Process why we broke up, how we got to where we are, so I grow and learn that I never want to go through those steps again.
Right. Right. And there are also the other, and by the way, just before that, this is a question. I just want to remind you, put it out there so you can see it, visualize and act upon it. Is it okay to keep in contact with your ex? Is it okay? And what situations to keep in contact with your ex? Somebody asked me once, what if your ex is your boss? Dum, 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 dum. All right, SMS 22422, hashtag is Daybreak, and you can tag at Citizen TV Kenya, Tuli Saburu, and we'll be able to go through some of your feedback as well. Shatta, what about the ex who keeps coming back? Who, I read a quote at some point where they say when the ex comes back, they just want to check if you're still as, and forgive my language, as stupid as you were before. And if you are, you'll allow them back. But what about the one who keeps coming back? So we broke up, but then we are together, then we are not, then we are talking, then we are friends. Then, it's sort of like a gray area. What about our sewa kurudi? Kama ukame Kenya, wanarudi tu.
The true answer to that cannot be answered now.
Why not?
Kwa taarifa yako tu. The true answer to that one, haitajibiwa sana. Maybe kwa podcast. You call me to the caveman team.
Yes, man. You'll give me the answer.
Yeah, man.
But Willis, a lot of people are in a situation where they think just because somebody became your ex, you cannot get back together. I feel you can. I feel if you both realize we really do love each other and we both got into the way of that relationship, I think if you healthily take time off and you healthily grow, you can come back together if both of you are willing to sit and say, this is why we broke up, and this is why we're getting back together. But it's very toxic if both of you realize it is a complete end and you have to stay my ex. But we break up and make up and break up and make up until we really do break up. And now you break up using each other to heal to the point where it's like, now, okay, now if you leave me, I'm okay.
Right, yeah. Which is, break up to make up is just those old romantic R&B songs. It's not healthy. It's not healthy as well. And somebody, Ombesa, who is ako hapa hivi, ametuambia ati ex wengine ni the prodigal son. Wameenda, wakatangaza vitu, CJ is bad, Shatta ni mbaya, nini. They use the money, everything. Then now like, I've come to my senses, take me
go
back.
home.
How did you deal with those ones? They were like Shaza said, so you've taken time apart. Then your ex contacts you and says, okay, I realized I was wrong. I have changed. Take me back.
It means come on, you unamsikiliza, it means you want them back.
Sorry.
No, if you're
Because
still entertaining them.
Yes, because they are not forcing you. But on the real though, inakuwaga, if you've dated this person for some time, maybe you've had shared vision, you said this is what we can be. What keeps them coming back and you accepting them back is the vision you had. They believe that the two of you could conquer something. We could conquer the world. We could make this happen. We could make magic. You see, that thought is what makes you invite them back. You see greatness in the two of you. You start thinking, whatever they did, well, if it was just ego, or ama you start blaming yourself also. You see what you do when you're dealing with a narcissistic person is when you start making excuses for their behaviors. And you start saying, you know, if I actually gave this girl time, she shouldn't have left me. If I did this, you start giving excuses for their behavior. And then you start inviting them back. You start inviting them back. But you break up again. But the problem is you never know when you've broken up for real.
Right.
You see, it becomes a routine that in this relationship, after 6 months, we break up.
And your friends know it too.
And your friends know.
When you tell them, I've broken up with so they're like, okay.
Mtarudi.
Yeah.
Acha tungoje. Si ndio? Ama leo nataka kutuambia nini kumuhusu. But they know it will recur. Unaelewa? So you never know, hata wewe mwenyewe when you break up with this girl or this guy, you don't know whether to move on or wait, because it has become a part of your relationship that you break up for a month, you come back. You break up for 2 months, you come back. So when you break up today, you will not know that for real we have broken up. You will live with that hope that it's us. That's what we do. Let's wait and see. You see? And then they go and move on with someone else.
Tunakwanga hivyo. This is my Achilles heel.
Yes.
Or, forgive me, CJ, Christians say, this is the thorn in my flesh. Let me just keep on dealing with this one.
See, and now that's the problem.
Yeah.
Yes, and when now they go move on with someone else, you start feeling betrayed afresh. You feel like you've broken up a second time now because you thought they would come back. And now they've gone to someone else. That is the biggest issue. And if there's a child involved also, that this guy disappears and comes back, disappears, you know, you're also breaking up with the child because you're disappearing from the child. They see you for 1 month, then next month they're not seeing you. They're wondering where are you. You as the mother, you have to lie to the child. Daddy has gone to work. He travels a lot. He'll come back. Then daddy one day does not come back. And the child starts seeing daddy with another mom. So you have to, first of all, you're dealing with that breakup that you thought he'd come back. He's not coming back. Now you have to explain to the child what is happening. So I think when you've broken up, say once or twice with someone, it's good now you tell yourself, and this one will become a routine. This will become a behavior. You see, it has become a pattern. I need to break it. It is toxic for me. And now that is where your circle comes in. You see that circle that you go telling these things and they tell you, tarudi, tushazoea hii kitu. You break away from that circle also. Break up with that circle. That is not a supportive circle.
The enablers.
They are enablers. Right. You see, when they tell you, tarudi tu, usituambie. When you make a decision, you need a team that supports that decision. You see, whether that guy will come back or not, let them support you at that moment. It might be that moment that when they support you, you know now you can move on. Unaelewa? But when they start telling you, he'll come back, it's your cycle, you're used to it, that is a bad team. You need to stay away from it. Yeah, man.
And so in terms of, I think all of you have mentioned the staying away, taking a break, relaxing, and then of course everybody, just even based on the question I've asked TJ, people ask that question about, do you go no contact? You know, are there amicable exes, understanding people, like, you know, let's say, you know, of course if they're children it's a whole different ball game. But let's say, for example, there are no children. What do you do? And even if there are, I guess there still needs to be some sort of boundaries.
Well, it depends on the nature of the breakup and then the level of maturity. I was trying to avoid that word. But it depends on the level of maturity of the two people. There are people who can just understand. Shazmin was talking about the thing of you get to a place where you feel this relationship is not working. And sometimes it doesn't mean that you're a bad person. It's just that we couldn't just work this out. And so we both understand that we can't stay together. Sometimes we know that we would be better off as friends than as lovers, because every other thing works out well. We can talk about business, we can actually do business together, but when it comes to the space of relationship where there's a sense of entitlement and expectation, we begin having issues. So sometimes people can actually define that and know that they would be better off as acquaintances, friends, just people who meet and talk. So it really depends on how the other person also would handle it. If it is dramatic, then you shouldn't try to stay in contact at that particular point, because that's going to hurt you. And you see, when there's drama, you also become dramatic, either to protect yourself or to counter the other drama. And that would be too much energy. So you'll be using energy to fight your past and your present and not to go forward. Sometimes by the time you really disengage, you don't have the energy to go forward. So the disengagement is to allow you to recoup energy so that you can actually move forward. There are times when you do so much to get somewhere, and by the time you get there, you don't even have the energy to enjoy what you were doing. But I wanted to also mention something concerning the group, your circle, like Shatta was talking about. See, I sit now in a place where you keep on hearing people a lot when they're going through this breakups and stuff. Sometimes the problem is not the circle. Sometimes this person will not listen to advice. And so it will get to the place where the circle around you no longer tells you anything. Because if I told you, okay, if you come with a case and you say, this is the scenario and this is it, then I say, okay, well, let's disengage for a while. Just take some time off. Then 2 days later, I'm seeing you all over Instagram. I feel foolish. I feel foolish. Yeah, it's true. Because now I don't even know how you're thinking about me. And now what the two of you are saying about you.
Exactly, yeah.
So the next time you're in trouble, I don't want to be in there because you don't take advice. And there are a lot of people who do that to their circle. By the time you do that the first and the second time, guys will just be watching you, and then you may feel upset with them that they never really held a gun to your head and told you, Willis, you're messing up. But they've been talking to you, and then you keep on, you don't even come back to say, okay, well, I heard what you told me the other day, but we had a conversation last night. And we decided to do this. You just show up from nowhere, and now everything is so cool, and then you're putting up all these subliminals everywhere, and don't listen to the haters. And I'm sitting over there, I'm thinking, man, all that talk we had.
For hours.
I'm the hater now.
And then now you're the hater.
So the next time you're in trouble, I don't want to come. Sometimes people do that. So again, sometimes people push away the genuine people in their life. I think when you're seeking help, you have to allow people to tell you things you are not willing to hear. And you have to respect that. And it doesn't mean that they don't like you. Sometimes they're just trying to be the people who will look at things from the blind spot, things that you're not seeing, things that sometimes you're overlooking by yourself. So they may bring up that. But you could also be so attached to the person based on needs that they meet. See, Shazmin talked about unmet needs and expectations. Sometimes the breakup is hard because of certain needs that are met. Maybe I don't want to be with this person, but they give me money. So if I break up, I'm going to lose that money.
Income stream.
Maybe there's an addiction to intimacy with this person. So I want to leave, but I still want to benefit from them. So you see somebody walking away from a relationship, but then when they've been alone for 3 nights or something, they'll just sneak back in.
Yeah, and no one tell you.
Yeah, they sneak back in and they say, what time is that match today? And they time a late match so that they don't have to go anywhere.
Right.
So they want to watch it till late.
Champions League, 11 p.m.
Yeah.
Right.
So now they want to move on, but they want to keep the benefits of the past relationship. Because, see, as Shazmin said, there are good things from every relationship. And so you could have somebody who is very toxic, but very good in bed. They're very toxic, but they're very generous. So you want to pick this thing from them as you want to move on, because maybe you've met a better person who is stingy. So you're losing a certain lifestyle that you had. So you feel, well, I can keep in touch with this other person, be going back and getting the provision, the money, the contact. Sometimes even just things like, you could have broken up with somebody, but they know that if I call Willis, he'll get me a job. He can always get me contacts and stuff. So they don't want to lose that because they know that you're a good-hearted person. So it also means that when the ex is coming back, you also have to ask yourself, why does this person keep on coming? Are they coming back because they feel there's something that we can work out, or are they coming back because they want to keep using me? Then you have to make the choice whether you want to be used, you want to be available to be used, or you want to be.
That's interesting. Be available to be used. Yeah? Okay, wacha niwachie hapo. All right, so nitumie Mungu nitumie kama chombo chako. So there's that. I'm really restraining myself. But anyway, so Shaz, the other thing is, and just we're about to take some feedback. I'm told people are going wild on the feedback as well. The other thing is this. So there is that place where you are trying to move on, but then the person who you are, like for example, you start thinking about it and you're like, how come I let this person treat me this way? How come I let this go on? You know, there is the role that you had in the whole breakup. And then sometimes you then think to yourself, okay, if I was this way, the only person then who can understand, love, appreciate me is this person, as toxic as they are, apart from the money or the intimacy, ni kama wananielewa. So, and I also don't want to lose this person that I was, because I feel like if, say, it's been 4, 6, 8 years, you were a certain person for all this time. So you're then afraid, who will I be without this person? So you keep on going back. How do you deal with that?
Well, this is very interesting. And this is why I say conscious relationships.
Okay.
Conscious because when you're choosing a partner, when you choose to get into a relationship, be conscious about who you are so you know what you're looking to attract. Secondly, people don't realize you attract a partner subconsciously. So if you're in a relationship right now that's not working, or you're looping around certain fights, or you've broken up with somebody, the place to start to think is, I attracted this person because of love I did not receive in a certain way when I was growing up. And that love is something I feel is owed to me. So when I attract a partner in my life and they trigger that lack of love or the attention I needed in a certain way, and they're not giving it to me, it takes me back to the way I was as a child. And now I don't realize that I'm looking at my partner to fulfill needs I needed as a child. And that's things people don't realize. If you pause right now, anyone watching even right now, and thinks about the love I wanted from a guardian or a parent when I was growing up. And you think about the lack of that love. And now you think about the partner you attracted in your life. You want that partner to never do what they did to you. So you already put pressure on a partner that they have no idea that is your lack, and that's what they're supposed to fulfill. That's why when you think about a conscious relationship, you come back to think about, how did I grow up? Who am I? What kind of a relationship am I looking at? Because remember, I chose to get into a relationship with this person. I enabled fights. I allow myself to stay before either they've dumped me or I've dumped them. So I'm very much responsible for us also reaching this point.
So you have your role in the whole
You 100% have your role. So before you choose to consistently blame the other person, because I know so many people right now are like, but you don't understand, it's fully them. It's not fully them, because you played a role to also allow that part of their personality to keep playing on. You didn't set boundaries in your relationship. You didn't turn around and find your voice and say, I'll not tolerate that. Do not talk to me like that. I will voice back to you. I'm going to walk away because you don't have a right to treat me that way. So as long as you were part of that dynamic as well, it's now time for you to start realizing, wait a minute. I don't want to attract the next person to play the next dynamic, because that's what happens. Right. People turn around and say, how come all the good guys are gone? Mm-hmm. How come all the good women are gone? How come I keep attracting the wrong person? But the sentence is, how come I? You keep attracting, because as long as you're attracting that person, it's your soul, your body telling you, you need to heal that cycle out of you to attract the next right person in your life. Mm-hmm. What went wrong? What can I learn? How can I grow? What were the lessons? What do I want to put out there? And most importantly, I've seen our culture doesn't know how to be alone.
Yeah,
they hate it. They fear it.
Yeah.
And I say, if you cannot spend a weekend with yourself, how do you expect to spend a weekend with a lover and they're supposed to love you? You got to love yourself first, post the breakup, for someone else to come in and say, I'm going to love you for who you are, and all the work you have to still heal and go through.
Right.
Your 2 broken wounds, and you're not going to come complete, because this whole new modern theory of, Willis, go get complete, I'm going to go get complete, and then we're going to come back and be complete. Never. You're going to keep triggering wounds inside of me for the rest of our relationship. And that's beautiful, as long as there's commitment that as these things come up, I can turn around and say, Willis, you're triggering abandonment. When I was growing up, now I recognize I always felt rejected and abandoned. So when you do X, Y, Z, you trigger that inside of me, but now I can vocalize it. I'm understanding. I'm choosing to be conscious in this relationship, not reactive in this relationship. Right. So it's the same thing. When you have an ex now, learn to respond. Your reaction time and all the fights and the luxury you had to do, you've done. That's why you've chosen, I don't want that life anymore. So now how do I respond to this person? Even if they are reactive, they might not do the work, they might not heal. But as you've healed and they're reacting, you can turn around and say, wow, I really wish you well. I can see I used to be there, and I can see I'm doing the work to not be there anymore.
All right, well, clearly at the end of the day, you can see it's work, basically.
It's interesting when she says you can't be by yourself. And I'm just thinking, if I can't be by myself, why would I want you to be with me?
Absolutely.
When me being with me is a lot of work.
Yes. But I expect you to know me, solve me, love me, fix me, make me feel amazing, and I can't do that for myself. It's not
being
fair.
unfair. Na tukirudi nataka kuongelea the other party also.
Which other party?
You see, for them, there's another party that we need to discuss.
Right.
The other person now that you've gone to. You know?
The new party.
The new party. The new partner now.
Right.
Because now you have not moved on from your ex. You've gone to that partner. This partner is investing their emotions in you, because they think now you've moved on that relationship and now they are starting a life with you. But wewe akili yako bado iko huko kwa ex. You see, you've dated for 2 months and you go back to your ex, and you expect this partner to be okay because you told them that you are from a relationship, and you're like, asi nilikwambia nilikuwa na dem. I told you I had a girlfriend, and you forget they are human and they have emotions also.
Yeah.
You see?
Right.
That is one. We need to consider them also. Sindio? Number 2, actually, out tuambie tu sahi, if you are getting into a relationship with someone coming out of a fresh relationship, please love yourself enough to be cautious of that relationship. Ask them, do you think you are done with this relationship? Take your time before you invest your emotions in this person. Just watch them.
And even after,
if they want to go back, you see, watch them. Ujue this one has moved on completely from their ex, or they are still healing from it. What role do I play in it? How do I help them, to what extent? Because this person might start hating you.
Right.
They will think you did not give them time to go back to their ex. You see, and when they start going back, now they start accusing you. You see, your time will blindfold. Si kuona bado mimi niko napenda demu yangu. I didn't see I still loved my husband. You blindfolded me. I didn't see. See, now they start blaming you. And where you've put your emotions there. Unaget? Right. That is something you need to be very careful with. Right. That you might start accusing your new partner for not enabling you to go back to your relationship because you did not heal from that relationship. Number 2, that partner, the new partner also needs to know the boundaries to you and your ex if there's a child involved.
Right.
You see, they don't start imposing themselves on that child. That is your child and your ex's child. It is not their child until a moment that you're comfortable enough to introduce them to your child. They don't force you to it, you see, because now they might get rejection from the child. And when they get that rejection, it comes to you. Because now you're in a house with the partner, your child has rejected that partner because you don't know what the mother told them or what the father told them, you see, and now you don't know how to bring your child on board to this relationship.
Right.
You see, so in short, do not rush things. Just make sure everything is falling in place at its best time. And do not run into a relationship with someone that is coming from a long-term relationship thinking you can fix them. That Messiah syndrome will mess you up. Karibu nitumia word mbaya. That Messiah syndrome will mess.
After utumia Messiah, ulikuwa na kutumia word mbaya, hauogopi radi. All right, let's take a look at some of your feedback and what you're saying. Niweke pare 24 tafadhali best. Showman KE, exes are way generous. Are way more generous anytime things... Okay, I can still see this one. Anytime... okay, they're way more generous. So according to me, yes, anytime things go south, you have a foot in already. So keep them close because if you have a foot in, unaweza kuenda kuishi hapo. Owiti Vivian 1, I think it's a good thing to continue talking to your ex because when you look at it, there must be something that you learn. All one needs to do is to forgive and wish them well. Okay? Obiero Ken, yes, it's very important, and more so now that we are approaching the rainy season. you never know. Frank Vape, some exes are good, but others are like they were sent by a witch doctor to finish you. The wise saying, don't put all your exes in one basket. Finalize this. Okay. Makoyo Otima, yes, I still have them intact in my phone. Tena Google accounts. I never lose them. Kuna Google Drive backup. Emphasis mine. Pete Barbary, at this generation, or in this generation, I don't find it a big deal keeping your ex in your contacts. What really matters is what broke you guys. Tricky Toya, when a relationship didn't work out, apparently it wasn't meant to, it doesn't make less of someone by moving on. We all deserve pure, and there is no there is no shortage of better people. With an ex, it's just exit. Engineer Lazaro, why keep contact with your ex? Hiyo ni kutafuta stress, unless you went away with my child. Kineni wa Embu, I have no problem with keeping in touch with my ex. Actually, we are still friends with my ex for purpose of investment. We are together. CJ mentioned that maybe we're just good business partners. We just know our limits. Colin Bet _KE_, they are exes for a reason. Never allow them back to your life. Be willing to walk away. Be willing to lose them. It might be hard, but remember, some lessons are best learned in the furnace. Anthony _Can, if there are kids, yes, but the quote-unquote keeping in touch should only revolve around taking care of kids' best interests. That's why there must be a deliberate structure on how to relate in this context. Very important, structure. Amos Ogondi, she's my ex, not an enemy. I'll keep in touch because no one knows tomorrow. For instance, today she's my ex, tomorrow she's a CEO in a company I seek employment. My question is, why don't you be the CEO?
Yeah.
In that context, mbona wewe usijione kama CEO wewe?
Kwa CEO tutampea kazi. Tutampea kazi.
All right, well, we have about 1 minute. 1 minute by law, maybe 2 minutes by Ombese.
Have you noted that the only people who responded were men?
Yes.
Because the women are still...
Oh, there was one Vivian. There was one Vivian. Why do you think that? Why do you think that?
I don't know, but I think ladies, they would be on the side of moving on because they're very emotionally involved. Because you look at most of the feedback from the men, they say, you know, keep in touch. Right. Keep in touch, because men are very practical and very logical. So they're still seeing the hopes for benefits, whichever way those benefits come. the future. But
that's right.
When a woman is in pain, she wants you to feel pain as well. She will never feel that it is done until you're in the position she is in. So if she feels hurt, she wants you to feel hurt, unless she has met Shazmin and gone through sessions. Generally, that's... So she will want you to go through something that will give you the same amount of pain. So if cutting you off will hurt you, then that's what she will do. So their response is dependent on how you will react and how you feel it.
Kitu ingine pia, for men, hata kwa madem, before you get into a relationship with someone coming from a relationship, ask yourself if you are becoming a tool of revenge. It's very important. They will be using you to revenge against their ex. Not to have a relationship with you, but they know if the ex saw them with you, they would react in a certain way, they would be mad at them. You see, they would feel the pain that they went through. So ask yourself, am I in a relationship or am I a tool?
Or in a situation.
In a situationship.
A tool in the British context is something totally different. Because a tool, well, it's true. A tool is also mtu mwenye ana akili, but you could ask yourself.
Kidogo ulipeleka
akili holiday. All right. Well, I want to wrap it up there, so I'll start with you, Shatta. What are your final comments on this? Because I'm told bado feedback ni mingi, lakini
kwa hii story yote hiyo kitu wanaume wamerespond hapa wakisema they don't want to stay in contact with their exes. I keep saying most men are potentially polygamous, and to them it is very okay to keep in touch. Kama kuna biashara iko involved, I think if you've moved on to someone else, you have to make them comfortable to understand that there's a business that is ongoing with my ex. I need to do this and this and this. How do I accommodate you? You know, don't just brush them off and say, we ni biashara sani do. Try consider them. Of course, they will feel that maybe you might backslide because you have history with this person. This person understands you better. Maybe
might have late night conference meetings. Travel, if travel is involved.
It's quite
too much.
No. That one
as a contingent. Fact-finding mission.
Very katai. Fact-finding mission, it's soul searching also.
Right.
And reconnecting.
Yes.
But kama kuna hiyo history yako na ya ex na maybe kama ni biashara hivyo, just make sure you accommodate the new partner.
Right.
They have to be on board with what you're doing. You don't have to explain everything per se, but make sure to are on the same page na wewe na ex.
Right.
Ajue ni biashara inafanywa, this is what I need to do here, this is what I need to do there. You also anaweza kuja pata umetumia ex pesa. Hata jua ni za biashara. Hata ushangaa you giving her money or you're sending him money. What is this? So you're inviting fights in your relationship. And again, we can't tell you now to quit your business. Just assume there was never a business to start with. You just have to strike a balance. Be mature. That is the word. Be mature. Yes, and an ex does not have to be an enemy. Kama akukuvuruga, kama ilikuwa ni vita, ilikuwa sasa ilikuwa anataka kukuua physical. Ni ile tu mlifika point mkaona nyesa, it's not working. This is not an enemy. And you never know where you'll meet tomorrow.
Okay. All right. So CJ and Shaz, you both have 30 seconds.
But this is what I'd say to anyone watching. First of all, if you are an ex, recognize whether that relationship was toxic, because you don't realize until you get out of a relationship what you were really going through.
Right.
So think about the reason that this relationship ended. A lot of people, feel shamed to go back to an ex. I say there's nothing wrong if you healthily work both yourselves out and both of you are mature enough to say, let's give this a shot. We understand what went wrong. Now that we got the space and we've cooled down and we've worked on ourselves, we can make it work. But anyone right now struggling with a breakup, don't rush in to numb yourself with someone else. Work on getting to be comfortable with who you are and work on your self-worth and your self-love, because I promise you, the minute you love yourself, it will be so easy to attract somebody that's going to see the value in who you are, because you will recognize, if I didn't have value before in the previous relationship, it taught me to have more self-love and self-worth. So there's no way I'd allow someone to do the things that I allowed before, but in the same breath, be responsible. Understand you got yourself there and understand how to get yourself out as well.
All right.
I think life is not lived in a straight line. So, as Shazmin said, it is possible for people to get back together. if they have grown, because you shouldn't make permanent decisions based on temporary situations. Who you are now and who you will be in the next 3 years is very different. What does it matter if you are stuck in the same relationship? For example, you are growing, your partner is not growing. For 3 years, you become a very different person, and you have the same spouse, same wife, same husband, but they're not growing. And compare that to a situation where you actually broke up, then both of you have grown into the place where you can attract each other again after 3 years and begin from a fresh start and build something better. So I think you have to define how you're going to go about things in life. There are stages you will feel, I want to get off a relationship, and it may be for various reasons, but that does not mean that that situation should be permanent. You just walk away. Then in the future, if life will get the two of you together and you actually feel that the dynamics have changed and that can work, well and good. If you know that it's not going to work as well, you can move on, and it doesn't have to be that you're enemies. Again, it doesn't have to mean that to try and look like you're this mature ex that you've got to keep in touch every day. Even if we're not, even if we're not enemies, I can allow you to have your space. I don't have to call you every day. I don't have to meet you often to just prove that, see, we are still friends. No, just allow everybody to grow in their space.
All right, well, I hope you picked up something for all of you. I'm sure we couldn't get to all of your feedback. We do appreciate taking time to send it through. Make sure you follow Shatta Boy up here, Shatta Tikitaka, Shatta_boy on the Instagram, Wax Tikitaka with AnQT every weekday from 10 to 1. Make sure you follow Shazmin Bank and CJ Atemo, and ask them about their sessions, ask them about how you can get involved, how you can get in touch even away from here. This one, you get just a snippet, but if you want to go in depth, please reach out to them as well. And make sure you follow Roberto Bobby in absentia as well, and go to www.lovewithaugustins.com and listen to the podcast as well. At the end of the day, it's not lived in a straight line. Ni wewe, experience yangu, si experience yako. So find out what's your experience, live and learn, and let's meet at the top, because that's where I'm heading. Peace and love.